Ow! 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 God, being Joker hurts. Joker! Released in 2019 and is directed by Todd Phillips, who's behind such films like Old School and the Hangover trilogy. That's quite a leap. And this movie is starring Joaquin Phoenix, which this is Joaquin Phoenix. He is the only one who is starring in this role. Everyone else is just a cameo. Zazie Beetz, Robert De Niro, they show up, but this is Joaquin Phoenix's movie. And just to preface, before we get going, I am still on the mend from that terrible cold that I had last week. My voice is, I think, sounding a little better, but I can't hear at all out of my right ear, so if it sounds like I'm shouting, I apologize, but I've been told over this past week that my normal, or at least what sounds to be my normal speaking voice, is very, very low. Like, this sounds like I'm shouting right now in my ear, but I know I'm not, so I'm trying to project. And now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the movie that everyone seems to have a negative opinion on. Whether you like it or you hate it, somehow everyone seems to despise this movie in some way, shape, or form. Joker tells a story about Arthur, who is a down-on-his-luck clown trying to make his way to become a big-time stand-up comedian. But after a terrible upbringing, Arthur has developed a nervous laugh that keeps him at bay from today's society. And one day when Arthur is jumped on the subway and causes the death of 3 Wall Street men, it begins a political uprising amongst the city of Gotham. The time is 1980, which is an aesthetic that I love for this time period, because nowadays, when we're talking about the 80s, we really go to the nostalgia piece. We go to, like, the pop culture 80s, where everyone was like, yeah, you remember the music? Yeah, you remember the movies? Remember the colors? God, I love the 80s. But people tend to forget, especially the younger generation, tend to forget how shitty the 80s were a lot of the time. In particular, in New York City, you had trash riots, you had just an abundance of pornography in Times Square everywhere. It wasn't a good time. It was a very dirty time. And that's one of the aspects that I love about this movie is the grime, the grit, the dirt that it promotes. It's a movie that makes you feel like you've been dragged through the muck and through the dirt and through the grime. And it definitely doesn't give you the good feels at the end of the movie, which is why I think that this film is going to stand the test of time when it comes to the comic book superhero genre, because we typically get, these big heroes and these big epic stories. Here is something that's well contained. It's really a character study about how one person can go from being good to being bad. And that's something that I personally strongly believe in, that not everyone is born bad. They learn, or they're conditioned to be that way, or whatever is happening in society to them and how they react to it, that is when you start seeing the turn to becoming bad. I'm going to try not to be on a soapbox for this entire review, but it's a wonderful technical piece that deserves every single nomination that it's received with the Academy Awards. It was nominated the most, 11 Academy Award nominations this year in 2020. No other film, no other serious drama, no other comedy, no other musical got that. This comic book superhero movie got 11 Academy Awards. And as someone who is a big fan of superheroes and comic books and wants this genre to be taken seriously, I'm taking that as a huge win. And when they announced the nominations, I thought everyone was going to be joyful, especially on all of the Twitter pages and all of the websites that I follow that are based on, hey, we got superheroes here. I thought everyone was going to be part of this, but no, everyone was like, yeah, no, it was good, but 11? No, I don't think it deserved that many. What do you people want? When this movie came out in October, and for those people that actually watched it, were unanimously saying that yes, this film deserves to be nominated. Joaquin definitely deserves to be nominated for his performance alone. Like, I was screaming from the rooftops that Hildur deserves to be nominated for Best Original Score, because this score for this movie is wonderful. It is eerie, it is creepy, it is beautiful. It's all done with the cello, my favorite instrument. Of course, you have me. You had me at cello. You had me at cello. You had me at cello. And apparently she wrote the score before the movie was even shot. So they based the shooting of this movie off of the score that she created. Wow. But 11 Academy Awards, that is great. That is unheard of when it comes to a film from this genre. Why everyone is up in arms about 11 Academy Awards, the whole lack of diversity thing. What do you people want? It's the Academy Awards. People just handing gold statues to everyone. What do you people want? This movie was great and deserves every single nomination that it got. And there's not a human on this earth that can argue against Joaquin Phoenix being nominated for Best Actor. Because, my God, this is the best performance of his career, and one of the best performances I have seen, definitely in the last decade at least. Notice how I'm saying one of, not the. Don't twist my words. Someone who has been very hesitant on taking on a role with a superhero genre or a franchise like DC or Marvel. Apparently he was up for the role of Doctor Strange, which, can you imagine Joaquin Phoenix as Doctor Strange? That'd be so effed up. But Todd Phillips came to him and pitched him the story, and we got Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, and I cannot picture anyone else in this role but him. At least in this version of it. The laughter alone deserves an Academy Award. Because it's not your stereotypical Joker laugh, like with Jack Nicholson and with Jared Leto, even with Heath Ledger. They were all laughing because they were maniacal and they were evil. There are a multitude of different laughters that he chose here. Because of this condition that Arthur has developed over the years from abuse and from this psychological abuse, from physical abuse, he developed this laughter because his mother kept telling him to always put on a happy face, no matter how terrible the world is. So he has this laughter that you can tell is painful, that he laughs when he wants to cry, he laughs when he wants to scream out in pain, in agony, and he has a laughter that he thinks is actually natural, and he laughs when he thinks people are supposed to be laughing, like when he goes to a nightclub and a stand-up comedian is presenting his stand-up and the entire crowd starts laughing, but he's not, and then out of nowhere there's this one line that he thinks is funny, and you hear this crazed laughter in the back corner of the stand-up room. It's actually very creepy. There was actually a guy in our movie theater that was laughing at strange parts that no one else was laughing at. Made us very uncomfortable. But there's no bullshitting with Joaquin in this role. This laughter is so internalized. It is so personal. You see just so many different emotions with each laughter that he has. You start to feel for the guy, especially when he can't control this laughter when he does his stand-up because he wants to be a comedian. Oh my God. I have been in those situations, both on stage and off stage, looking at situations like this, and I don't wish that stage fright and that stage anxiety on anyone. It's absolutely terrible. At this year's Academy Awards, Roger Deakins is nominated for Best Cinematography in 1917, which he absolutely should win. It's all done, or at least it all seems like it's done in one continuous shot. Roger Deakins needs to bring home his second Oscar. Giving him a run for his money, though, is Joker. With the lighting, with the color palette, with the grittiness again, like what I was saying. This film, it's beautiful. It is stunning to look at. The beautiful metaphors that the camera is capturing. When Arthur is walking up the stairs, you can tell that he is sad. He's depressed. He's trying to fit into this world the way that his mother taught him to, and he's taking medication. He is trying to be a part of society. But as the medication goes away, and as he's letting himself be free, and he's letting that laughter, that nervous, painful laughter go away, and he's walking down the stairs, dancing down the stairs, descending into that madness. I love the metaphors in this movie! When he starts committing these small, little tiny acts that are moving him into the direction of becoming Joker, you see different colors on screen. You see greens, you see reds, you see purples, all the Joker colors. I just love it when comic book properties are taken seriously in this medium. I love it. I don't know how much longer I can keep talking because this is the most that I've talked really since becoming sick and since my last recording, so this might not be as long as I want it to be, but I really wanted to do this for everyone because I wanted to get this out before the Oscars, and I wanted to talk about just how great I thought this film was. I was talking about it when it came out in October, and some of my friends who have been, what I've gone to grad school with, and I've been longtime friends, started shunning me on social media platforms about why I thought that, yes, I think this movie came out at the perfect time because this was a time, we're still in this time where we have shootings, every other day at a church, at a school, at a supermarket, at a factory. And I think this film can show us how someone can descend into this world of madness and make this terrible decision to go to some place and shoot it up. I think it's like I said, it's a character study. And that's the essence of the Joker. He had a terrible day, and the way that he responded to it led him down this path of chaos and madness and murder. Who else had a terrible day in this Gotham universe? Bruce Wayne. But he decided to go down the righteous path, or at least the justice path. Put an end to this crime so that what happened to him doesn't happen to anyone again. That is why when we're talking about characters in novels, in films, in plays, in video games, when we have our hero or protagonist, we say, okay, so that's our Batman. Who was our Joker to our main character? Or who was our Batman to our main villain? Because their stories intertwine and they're such good foils of each other. They both have just one really bad day, and they both go the complete opposite. And I think looking at a character study and a character piece here of how someone could go down that terrible, terrible path, I think it's inspiring to me as the viewer watching this to be nicer to people and to go out and try to help someone that may go down this terrible path, that may be having bad days. I want to go out there and I want to talk to them and I want to help them and make sure that they don't go down that path. Let's go the righteous and justice path, please. That was the inspirational message that I got from this movie, and I felt moved by it. Again, I was unsettled by the end because this is Joker. It's not going to have a happy ending for this guy. But it baffles me that leading up to this film's release, there was so much hatred and negativity being thrown its way because, oh my god, here's a story about another middle-aged white man who's going out, shooting people, and the violence. We shouldn't have violence in our films in movie theaters. Bleh. I can honestly tell you, as someone who has watched the movie, this film, the violence in here is very, very subtle. There's almost no violence in here at all. There have been hundreds of movies that have come out last year in 2019 alone that are 100 times more violent than this movie. And the violence that does happen in this movie, it's not put here just to be gory. It's not here just to be violent. The violence that happens, in here, it's done with a purpose. It is telling this character's story and descent into this world of madness. These 3 Wall Street people that end up being killed, majority of it was done out of self-defense. I don't know. I don't have the answer, guys. All I'm going to say is that I think if you're going to criticize this film, please actually watch it first and then criticize it. That's the thing with art. You can't criticize art if you haven't listened to the song, if you haven't seen that piece of painting, if you haven't watched the movie. I don't think you have any leg to stand on for criticizing what it does and what it portrays, because like I said, when I saw this movie, I was emotionally moved and inspired to go out and help people more. But because this movie is about a character who's a mass murderer, oh my god, we can't have these types of stories in our movie theaters! Ah! It's criticism that I'm constantly hearing about this movie. Oh my god, it promotes violence. I'm not going to go see it because I don't want to promote violence. All I can say to that is that I guess you're entitled to your opinion and your decision to not see the movie, but stop talking about the movie and criticizing it because you haven't watched it. You can't talk about it because you haven't even seen it. See the movie, then comment on it. And with that being said, this is a movie. No one is making you watch this movie. So if you don't want to see it because you think it's too violent and the subject matter is too hard for you, maybe you have something terrible that happened in your life that mirrored what happened here, totally fine, understandable. Please know, no one is making you watch this movie. No one makes you watch movies. No one forces you to go out there and say, hey, go watch this movie, or else. So with that being said, you can't tell viewers like us that have gone out to see these movies or want to go see these movies that we shouldn't, because we want to, and we want to be entertained. We want to hear stories. We want to hear multiple ideas of stories. We don't want to just have the good guy win all the time. We want to hear stories about villains. We want to hear stories about bad people, and maybe they're redeemed at the end, or maybe they just go down a path of madness. We just want to hear stories. Yep, I'm on my soapbox. I'm sorry. I think it's the best film of 2019. I absolutely think it deserves Best Picture. It definitely deserves Best Actor in Joaquin Phoenix and Best Original Score. If they don't win those two at the Oscars, I'm going to be pretty pissed off, but I think it absolutely deserves Best Picture. My wife put it the best. When we were walking out of the movie theater last October when we saw it, we both said that film was fantastic. It was brilliant, visually stunning, and I never want to see it again. It's creepy, it's cringy, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. It checks all the boxes for me. I love this movie. I'm going to give Joker 5 out of 5 Blu-rays. Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. The next one comes as a recommendation from one of my longtime subscribers. She has given me so many recommendations over the years. She has been there almost from day one, Disney 65 fan. She recommended Aladdin, the 2019 live-action version, and a while ago, and yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that after this one, just to pick up my spirits. Because hint, hint, I love that movie. It's got Naomi Scott. That's all you need in life, really. So I'm excited to check that out again. Thank you, Disney 65 fan, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, leave your recommendation below this video. Go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there. If I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. So guys, have you seen Joker? What did you think about it? Am I wrong in my assessment? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Have you actually watched the movie? Please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, hit the subscribe button. It helps me grow this community with Caleb Watches Movies. We are getting closer. We are under 100 subscribers left to hit 1,000 subscribers. And all of you know that my reward for everyone out there, if we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to record myself watching Arachnophobia, which is a movie that scared me so much as a kid. When I was drugged up last week on NyQuil and a whole bunch of drugs, I woke up in cold sweats because I had nightmares remembering the movie Arachnophobia, or what I remember of it. It was not fun. It's going to be fun for you, watching me watch it. It's not going to be fun for me watching it. You can get drunk. So if you have friends, if you have family members, send them over my way and have them hit the subscribe button. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Aladdin. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.